one day and one of the cubs got really curious, and I had to kind of verbally scold it and step forward to push it back.
What could possibly bring nearly 50 bears together in one place? A massive feast, bloody fight, or perhaps an epic hunt? Get ready, folks.
She's lost over a third of her body weight during winter, and right now, there's not much around except grass.
Today's video is going to be incredible as we dive into the mystery of the largest bear gathering ever recorded. A quick disclaimer before we get started. Things are going to get ugly. Number 1, a pack of 50. It started off as an ordinary documentary. A team set out to record some grizzlies in action as they forage food. Now, normally, bears are solitary animals. They naturally prefer to live a lonely life without much interaction. But during foraging, it's not unusual to see a group of perhaps 10 or 12 bears gathering resources. And because bears aren't exactly territorial, they've evolved to tolerate living together.
The bears of this coast are all here because a feast is about to be delivered from the ocean.
As long as food sources are localized. So, when the team saw 10 bears together, they weren't exactly surprised. The real surprise came when they discovered the rest of the pack. 50 bears, ladies and gentlemen, and among them, some of the most enormous ever. It was absolutely surreal, as wildlife experts and researchers had never seen such behavior among these creatures.
Right now he's sniffing where she was standing last and assessing her estrus condition. We'll see. If he follows her, he likes it.
And while they lived in union gathering food for the entire pack, things got nasty real fast. The alphas would often engage in blown-out brawls, fighting to claim more power and mating rights. It was extraordinary since this was the only time researchers had witnessed such a massive group. But I'm sure they couldn't live off berries and salmon alone, and that's when they saw it. Mountain lions, caribous, wolves, and even other bears. This mega pack spared nothing in its path. The hunting rituals were barbaric as several bears teamed up together to rip apart their prey. Believe it or not, the pack grew so bloody that wildlife experts even suggested intervention to prevent a possible ecosystem collapse.
Like and subscribe right now, and you'll have amazing luck for the rest of the week.
No one really knows where this pack went, though. The fighting turned immense as the alpha was challenged on the regular, with the pack growing smaller in size every single day. But yeah, whatever it was, I'm glad there isn't a super pack of 50 cannibalistic bears still on the hunt for anything that breathes. Number 2, Behemoth Bear spotted at the Browning Trail. Cancel all your plans to the Browning Tail, people. There's a behemoth on the loose. Just look at the size of this bad boy. He's massive, and to think how there were 50 of these giants terrorizing an entire forest. Absolutely horrifying. Number 3, the boss. Just check out the stride. He knows he's the talk of the town, and honestly, it's hard to comprehend just how large these creatures can grow. Some of the biggest ever can grow up to 7 feet tall and weigh anywhere from 400 to 800 pounds.
Aquí estamos dentro del Ranger Station, aquí en Katmai. Mira lo que viene aquí.
And look at that dude walking in front of the bear. Either he didn't see this beast or he figured running wouldn't really be a good idea.
As close as we're gonna get to a little bear. Look at this bear. Look at this bear. Mira este oso. Oh my gosh.
Considering how bears can run up to kilometers per hour. Number 4, scary business. I think this footage shows just how deadly bears are. I mean, did you see the way this brown bear rushes a truck? Just imagine seeing a monster like that running at you.
The truck driving down an unpaved road when suddenly the bear runs in the path and takes several swipes at it.
It takes a couple of swipes, shattering the windshield, and prompting the driver to speed off before things get ugly.
Oh, that windshield wiper, oh, that bear is crazy. The driver then speeds off immediately, despite the scare.
But why did the brown bear do all that? Well, if you ever see some cute little baby cubs nearby, it's best to leave. Mama bears don't mess around about their cubs. Number 5, terrifying bear encounter. Remember when I said bears are solitary animals? Did you know they're comfortable living around humans as long as there's a reliable food source? I think this bear has been fed a bit too much by hikers and campers, and that's why it's comfortable enough to get this close. Or maybe it felt lonely and just wanted to have a nice little talk. Either way, it's one of the most terrifying bear encounters I've ever seen. I mean, I'm amazed how this guy stayed so calm and composed. Number 6, polite bear. Don't let this polar bear fool you, people. It looks all polite and cute, but if you knew its intentions, you'd be out of there in no time. And among bears, it's the polar bears you gotta worry about. These creatures are man-eaters. And what's crazy is how this isn't even a grown adult yet. Polar bears are considerably bigger than all other species, with adults reaching astonishing heights of over 10 feet tall. Just imagine that for a second. A 10-foot tall giant just staring at you. Horrifying. Number 7, trying to break in. This is what I was talking about, folks. If it's brown, lay down. If it's black, fight back. If it's white, good night. Just look at how this giant is trying to break in. Those deadly sharp teeth, massive paws, and soaring height.
If I was to be standing side by side with this animal, it would be about 7 feet tall.
I'm actually a bit blown away by how this person is so calm in front of a bear trying to eat him. And you know what's the scariest thing about this footage?
The bear's nose is thousands of times more powerful than mine. It's gathering information before it approaches.
There's zero malice from the bear. It's indifferent. It doesn't hate you or dislike you. It just sees you as nothing but food. Number 8, too close for comfort. This is what happens when a bear gets too hungry. This clip is at least 30 years old, and honestly speaking, I'm surprised how these humans are so calm. Do they not know the polar bears see humans as food? And here's another crazy fact that's going to terrify you.
En isbjørn sender ut signal. Han aggressiv? Han sulten? Vil han deg noe vondt? Og det du I utgangspunktet vet om isbjørn?
Did you know polar bears are incredibly deceptive? They'll look all calm and desperate while you're feeding them, only for you to lower your guard before pouncing right at you. For them, it's just a game, but for these humans, it could very well just be the last thing they see. Number 9, fake charge. Don't tell a bear how to raise her cubs. As you're watching this clip, let me give you some backstory. A group of photographers were filming a mama bear and her cubs when all of a sudden, a curious cub started to get a bit too close. Since these photographers were wildlife experts as well, they knew they had to shoo away the cub to prevent an attack from the mother.
You know, she did a bluff charge and then stopped, and we kind of just kept filming and...
It all worked out, but when they showed up the next day, the mama bear charged at the team, scaring the living daylights out of them.
Very assertive. You know, she was coming up the river with her 3 cubs one day, and one of the cubs got really curious, and I had to...
They were super lucky since it turned out to be a fake charge, but I can't even imagine how scary that must have been. The photographers later shared how that was a warning from the adult to not scold her cubs again. Number 10, taking on an adult grizzly. Either this guy is an expert or he has a death wish. He's face to face with an adult grizzly who's clearly looking for a snack. Now, this dude does have a revolver in his hand, but I don't think he wants to use it. He's trying his best to get the bear to flee, but it's not working. And that's when he gathers the courage and charges at the bear several times to get it to run. Let me repeat that for a second. He charges at the bear, a man charging at an animal capable of cutting it open with just one swipe. It's an incredible moment, and while this man might have just pulled off the impossible, it was a life and death situation, as things could have turned ugly in no time. Number 11, real-life nightmare. Just imagine if this happened to you. I mean, I have only seen something like this happening in a nightmare. At first, it seems like this massive bear is going to let it slide, but that's when it turns into a horror chase. The biker is pedaling as fast as he can as the colossal bear chases him through the forest, and it was probably the fight or flight that made this biker pedal faster than usual, because bears are terrifyingly fast. Did you see that branch in the middle of the trail? I have never felt this much anxiety while watching a clip, and the moment he jumps off the bike and hides behind a tree is perhaps the most nerve-wracking moment ever. The biker is lucky there are some hunters nearby who scare off the bear with some warning shots, but the fact that he was able to capture the entire incident on his GoPro is out of this world. Number 12, biggest fake ever. Watch this mama bear and her cute cubs just enjoying nature. That is, until a male bear shows up and tries harassing her. And even though it seems like the male has scared off this cute family, just wait for it. As soon as mama bear has escorted her cubs to a safe distance, she charges at the male bear. And did you check out the speed? Now imagine being chased like that while on a bicycle. That's why that previous clip we saw is so incredible. Number 13, bear at the work site. Imagine you're working one day when, all of a sudden, you see a massive beast show up at the work site hungry for food. What would you do? Well, truth be told, there's not much you can do. Fortunately for these guys, they noticed him just in time to hop in a buddy's truck and watch the bear thrash up another buddy's truck. Plus, compared to the truck, that bear isn't small by any standards. If I'm not mistaken, that's a Kodiak right there. And did you see what he did to the truck? Absolutely barbaric. I mean, if it can mess up a heavy-duty pickup, just imagine what it could do to a human. Number 14, bear chases elk. This thing is a tank. Just look at it running down the hill in pursuit of some fresh elk. Now, even though bears are pretty fast, there's no way they can chase down an elk. Chances are, this bear is looking for an elk calf, and chasing down the herd is the only way to find it. But it's still amazing watching an adult bear cruise the hills with such speed and agility. Also, Here's a cool fact about bears. They rarely hunt these sorts of animals. The only time elk would be on the menu is when they manage to steal it from a wolf pack. So, in a way, bears are usually opportunistic and leave all the hard work to other animals before swooping in and stealing the prey. Number 15. Grizzly Bear interrupts wedding. It's moments like these when you truly realize nature couldn't care less about us or wedding. This couple probably wanted a nice and quiet marriage, but instead, they ended up getting a real shocker. The smiles turn into fear as the couple and guests spot a grizzly ripping a moose to shreds.
You can't deny how crazy it is to see something this crazy in nature, much less at a wedding.
It's a horrendous sight because, for starters, bears don't usually kill their prey before they start eating. And secondly, bears are really messy eaters. And when I say messy, I mean really messy. Blood splattered everywhere, guts spilling, and an animal crying for mercy as it gets ripped open by a bear. Nature is scary. Number 16, Jimbo the Bear. Meet Jimbo, one of the biggest bears on the planet. Yes, you heard that right. On the planet. Jimbo is an astonishing 1,500 pounds, standing 10 feet tall on his hind leg. That's as big as a polar bear. Jimbo is a Kodiak, and those guys can get big, but this huge? I had no idea. And this guy has some serious guts. Fooling around with a bear of that size? Just look at the claws on this bad boy. He could rip through metal if he wanted to. Number 17, 747. But if you thought Jimbo was big, wait till you meet 747. And I kind of have an idea of what to expect. I mean, for a bear to be named 747, it's gotta be something special, right? Just look at this giant. Someone's clearly been enjoying themselves. Bears usually do this to survive the winter, but I think this big boy did it for the entire year. Oh, and here's something interesting. I bet you had no idea 747 is safe to be around. Yep, this bear wouldn't be too interested since it's still ingesting plenty of its previous meal. Number 18, cute bear waves to camera. Okay, enough of all the killing and blood for a second. There's a reason why teddy bears are so cute. Despite being living and breathing monsters, bears are actually pretty cute, like this fella here. He's looking all fluffy as he waves to the camera in exchange for a treat. Check out that catch! And to think how this guy could do just about anything he wanted if he didn't get that bread. Also, what's up with that fence? What are they trying to stop? Number 19, bear versus boy. What a scene. This boy probably got the shock of his life after spotting this massive black bear staring right at him. There's even a brief moment when the beast charges at the boy, who surprisingly holds his ground.
Engaging the bear in a heart-stopping game of hide and seek. Watch as the neighbor relentlessly pursues the bear from behind the car until the animal
looking it straight in the eye. And if it wasn't for that, I don't think that bear would have stopped. Thankfully, a neighbor notices the bizarre scene and steps out of his vehicle, spooking the bear away from the boy. It's a heart-pounding situation as this brave man saves the day. Number 20, special delivery. Bears are some of the most curious creatures on the planet. I mean, I can't think of another beast that would unsuspectedly make its way into a random kitchen. I remember there was a time when you only had to worry about roaches or rats in the kitchen, and now you gotta be on the lookout for bears. Plus, how smart is this dude? He sees a massive bear and decides to follow it around. Dude, just run. And that bear wasn't even serious. That fake pounce was just a little warning to remind the man just how puny he is. Number 21, nature is cruel. It doesn't get any more raw than this, people. A grizzly on the hunt for the weakest link in the herd, the calves. And I think by now you already know how it's impossible for a bear to catch an animal. But the babies, those are easy snack. And that's exactly what happens in this clip. The bear spots, catches, and slaughters a bison calf. Nature is cruel though. You can see how the mother tries to scare off the bear and save the calf, but it's too late for that. Number 22, freeze. This probably has to be the scariest moment of their lives. They were enjoying a nice little picnic before it got crashed by a black bear. It reminds me of that scene from Jurassic Park, Don't Move a Muscle. And normally, when you're in a situation like this and it's a black bear, you're supposed to show some aggression to get it to back down. But the only reason why this was an effective strategy is because there was food on the table. If there wasn't, things would have been very different. Number 23, pool party. This is both frightening and cute at the same time. It's cute because that's an adorable family of bears having the time of their lives swimming around in the pool. They seem all giddy as they cool down and play with the different toys in the backyard.
As happens with youngins, these cubs find the rest of the backyard irresistible. They just have to try out the slide.
And it's frightening, because that's a family of bears having the time of their lives swimming around in the pool. I mean, just imagine if they showed up while someone was in the backyard.
Pump, it's plugged in to the electrical supply.
Hey, Mama Bear. Oh, that's not good. No, you're gonna electrocute. Oh no!
Or imagine having to share the pool with them. And why don't these homeowners have a fence? Do they not know they live in an area with bears? Number 24, crazy surprise. I bet this was equally shocking for the bear. It's a crazy surprise as this homeowner is startled to death after seeing a massive black bear snooping around the porch. And this just makes me wonder, what are you even supposed to do in a situation like this? He's super lucky the bear was also taken by surprise after spotting the man. Number 25, Khabib Nurmagomedov versus Bear. Another wrestling clip? Well, not quite. This is a clip of world champion Khabib Nurmagomedov training with a bear. Alright, I believe the Russians now. Now I know why their wrestlers are the best. But what intrigues me more is how social bears can be. This bear knows this isn't a real fight or anything. It's a playful scuffle. And that makes me wonder, can bears ever be domesticated? They are animals that would love to have to do nothing food. And it's not like people haven't domesticated some of them either. Interesting. Number 26, Kodiak versus Grizzly. What's the best way to describe a Kodiak bear? Easy. A grizzly on steroid. Just look at the crazy size difference. I had no idea Kodiak bears were this massive. I mean, that thing is a literal tank. Oh, and here's something that'll blow your mind. Take a good look at that Kodiak and imagine a polar bear now. Yape. Those things are so huge that even Kodiaks look tiny in front of them. Number 27, polar bears, savage hunters. Sure, all bear species other than the polar bears are big, scary, and bad. But trust me when I tell you this, when it comes to hunting, there is nothing more savage than a polar bear. Just look at this monster. It chases a reindeer in the water, killing it right there and then, before dragging it to the shore for a lovely meal. And just think of the strength it must take to drag a reindeer out of the water. Absolutely incredible. It's a shame these creatures are now vulnerable, with their population quickly declining. In fact, polar bears were actually the first animals to be listed as threatened due to global warming. Number 28, polar bear versus walrus. Behold, the magnificent polar bear. Did you know that these guys practically turn invisible during a blizzard? Just imagine hearing a large beast run towards you, but not being able to see it. Sounds like a nightmare. Anyway, this bear is looking for a snack, and that's when it notices a walrus. I'll be honest, I think the bear thought this walrus was dead or something. Because even though polar bears are extraordinary hunters, they still can't take on a walrus. 2 tusks, 3 times heavier, twice as large, and an 8 to 12 inch deep blubber anti-claw mat. It's like these things were built to fend off polar bears. Number 29, lucky hikers. I will never go hiking again, at least no to an area with bears. These hikers get the shock of their life after spotting a grown bear run right at them. The footage was recorded by some hikers on top of a hill who were yelling and shouting, telling them not to run. What else are they supposed to do, sir? That's an adult bear chasing them?
They shouldn't run. Don't run! Don't run!
Oh, and did you see how they split up like the cast does in every horror movie? Anyway, I'm guessing the bear had a full stomach, because if he really wanted to, he could have easily chased them down. Number 30, 500-pound tank. Damn, that's a scary sight. Look at this 500-pound tank sprinting down the hill at crazy speeds of nearly 35 miles per hour. For a second, it almost looks like this beast is running straight at the person recording the clip. And that ain't no bear. That's a literal killing machine, jogging down the mountain with food on its mind. On a side note, I'm gonna take a moment to appreciate the fascinating animal. They seem so bulky, but they're strong and agile enough to sprint, climb, and even hunt. Number 31, Bumpy Ride. This is what happens when a black bear finds its way to a big city. This beast innocently ended up in a neighborhood, and after seeing all the cars and people, it decided to hide out in this tree. And from the bear's perspective, it's just waiting for everyone to leave so it can run off again. But imagine living in this neighborhood, knowing there's a massive black bear on the loose. There's no way you'd see me outside that day. The bear is eventually shot using a tranquilizer, dropping him straight on the trampoline. It's a bumpy ride as this bear bounces before slamming the grass hard. But yeah, the bear lived and was dropped off at the nearby forest. Number 32, long process. I always thought bears would just get up and start the day, leaving the den for their next big meal, but I had no idea that it would be such a long process. Check out this footage. A wildlife researcher hooked up a camera outside this den.
Probably spent 20 hours a day in the den, but as he would come out, he would move around a little bit more. And within a few days, he's moving pretty good again.
To capture this black bear's journey through spring. And just look at how many times it comes out of the den before actually leaving it. Excuse me for the lack of a better example, but that's how long it takes me to get out of bed every morning. But anyway.
Tried to dig in, and he finally just eventually gave up trying to dig his way back into it. And then he spent about another...
This lasts for at least 4 months until the black bear is finally ready to leave and hunt again. Such incredible creatures, I tell you. Number 33. Incredible climbers. I knew bears could climb trees, but cliffs and rocks? Now that's something new. And check out how intelligent this bear is. The mama bear has absolutely no trouble as she easily scales the cliff. And then comes the cub. He hits an impassable spot, but instead of following the mother's path, he remaps a new one in his brain and makes the climb. These creatures just never cease to amaze me. Just when you think you have them figured out, they pull off something like this and blow you away. Number 34. Interesting encounter. Thank God this bear wasn't too hungry, or it would not have ended well for him. He spots a couple of mountain goats, and for a second, it looks like he's actually going in for the kill. But fortunately, he pulls out just in time, saving himself from an ugly death. And trust me, this isn't something new. Bears die like this all the time. They're cocky animals who think they can catch these goats, but often end up slipping, falling down entire cliffs and mountains. But still, this is nature at its best. The bear is hungry, but not hungry enough to ignore the falling hazard. And the goat knows there's no way that bear is going to take that big of a risk to come attack them. Just a simple game of intimidation. Anyway, that's it for today's video, folks. So, what do you think? How would you react if you ever saw a super pack of 50 bears? And did you know bears are such intelligent and social creatures? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more interesting videos in the future.